Hello and welcome to our channel. Today we will be learning about Ethiopian history from ancient times until today. Ethiopia has a very long and interesting history that most people don't know about. So let's go back in time and see what we can discover. First up, let's start with the ancient Ethiopians. The earliest evidence of human presence in Ethiopia dates back more than 3 million years ago. You may have heard of Lucy, the famous skeleton of an early human ancestor that was found in the country. That's how we know that humans have been around in Ethiopia for a very long time. But of course, there were also later civilizations like the DMT Kingdom, which existed between the 10th century BC and the 5th century BC. This civilization was located in what is now northern Ethiopia and Eritrea, and its capital was Yeha. The people who lived here spoke a language called South Semitic, and they followed a religion called Sabaeanism. They also had frequent trade and contact with South Arabia, which is now part of modern-day Yemen. After the DMT Kingdom, the next major civilization to emerge in Ethiopia was the Aksumite Empire. This empire was one of the great civilizations of the ancient world, and it lasted from around the 1st century AD to the 9th century AD. The Aksumites were centered around the city of Aksum, which is now in the Tigray region of Ethiopia. They became a major trading empire because they controlled the routes from the Red Sea to inland Africa. This gave them the ability to control trade in the region, and they used this power to become very rich. The Aksumites minted their own coins, which is a sign of how wealthy they were. They also traded gold, ivory, and spices with many different civilizations, including Rome, India, Byzantium, and Arabia. The Aksumite Empire reached its peak under the king Ezana, who reigned from around the 320s to 360 AD. He converted the empire to Christianity, which made Ethiopia one of the first nations in the world to adopt Christianity as the state religion. Ezana's inscriptions refer to him as the King of Kings of Ethiopia and Arabia, showing how powerful he was. The Aksumites were also known for their amazing architecture. They built tall stone monuments called stelae, which are still standing in Ethiopia today. They also constructed some of the first Christian churches in Ethiopia, which had a unique style that blended African and Byzantine influences. After the Aksumite Empire declined, a new dynasty rose to power in Ethiopia. This dynasty was called the Zagwe Dynasty, and they ruled from around 900 AD to 1270 AD. The Zagwe built their capital in Lalibela, and they are best known for building the rock-hewn churches of Lalibela. These churches are a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and they were carved directly into the mountainside. The Zagwe rulers were proud of their religious heritage, and they saw themselves as the New Jerusalem. They were ruled by the Aga-speaking people, and they were able to maintain Christianity as the state religion of Ethiopia. They also expanded the role of the church in society and built many monasteries and other religious buildings. After the Zagwe dynasty, the Solomonic Dynasty came to power in Ethiopia. The Solomonic Dynasty claimed to descend from King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba through their son Menelik II. They ruled from around 1270 AD to 1974 AD, and this period is considered to be the golden age of Ethiopia. The Solomonic emperors ruled over a highland Christian kingdom, and they often went to war with the neighboring Muslim sultanates and the lowland peoples. The kingdom was feudal, which means that the emperor was the supreme leader, but there were also regional rulers beneath him. These regional rulers were called Ras, Dijazmak, and others, and they paid tribute to the emperor in exchange for their autonomy. During the Solomonic period, Ethiopia began to have more contact with Europeans, especially the Portuguese. In the 1500s, Portuguese missionaries and soldiers arrived in Ethiopia, and they helped the Ethiopian emperors fight against Muslim invaders. One of these Muslim leaders, Ahmad ibn Ibrahim al-Ghazi, was a powerful warrior who led devastating invasions into Ethiopia. However, he was eventually defeated thanks to the help of Cristóvão da Gama, a Portuguese soldier. In the 17th century, Fasilides, the then ruler of Ethiopia, founded the new capital of Gondar. Fasilides was a member of the Solomonic Dynasty, and he ruled from 1632 to 1667. During his reign, Gondar became a center of architectural, artistic, and literary flourishing. Many castles, palaces, and churches were built during this time, such as the Fasıl Gebi, a complex of castles and palaces. The next period in Ethiopian history was called the Era of the Princes, or Zaman Mesafint. This era lasted from 1769 to 1855, and it was a time when the emperors of Ethiopia became figureheads and the real power was held by regional warlords. During this time, there was a lot of conflict and power struggles in Ethiopia. In 1855, a new emperor named Tewodros II came to power, and he ended the era of the princes. He tried to centralize power in his hands and modernize Ethiopia. However, he committed suicide in 1868 after a British military expedition. After Tewodros II, Menelik II came to power in 1889. He expanded the empire southwards and incorporated many ethnic groups into Ethiopia, such as the Oromo, Sidama, Somali, and others. He also defeated Italy at the Battle of Adwa in 1896. This battle was a major victory for Ethiopia because it was the only African nation to repel European colonization during the scramble for Africa. Menelik II founded Addis Ababa as the new capital of Ethiopia. The next and last reigning monarch of Ethiopia's Solomonic Dynasty was Emperor Haile Selassie WWII. He reigned from 1930 to 1974. Haile Selassie played a key role in the League of Nations and was a strong advocate for African unity and anti-colonial solidarity. In 1936, Italy invaded and occupied Ethiopia under Mussolini's fascist regime. However, Haile Selassie was restored to power in 1941 with the help of the British during World War II. Unfortunately, he was deposed in 1974 during a military coup led by a group called the Derg. The Derg was a Marxist-Leninist military junta that ruled Ethiopia from 1974 to 1991. During their rule, there was a lot of civil war, violence, and famine, especially from 1983 to 1985. The Derg leaders, such as Mengistu Haile Mariam, tried to implement socialist policies in Ethiopia, including land reform. However, they faced many challenges, such as fighting secessionist and rebel groups, including the Eritrean People's Liberation Front (EPLF), the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front (TPLF), and the Oromo Liberation Front (OLF). In 1991, the Derg regime was overthrown by rebel forces, which were mainly led by the TPLF. The TPLF established an ethnic federal system in Ethiopia, dividing the country into autonomous regions called kilels. The TPLF also ruled the country through a coalition government called the Ethiopian People's Revolutionary Democratic Front (EPRDF). One of the key figures in the EPRDF was Meles Zenawi, who served as prime minister from 1991 to 2012. However, in recent years, there have been many protests and unrest in Ethiopia, especially in the Oromia and Amhara regions. These protests were mainly driven by young people, particularly the Kiru movement in the Oromia region. The protests led to the resignation of the EPRDF in 2018 and the appointment of Abiy Ahmed as prime minister. Abiy Ahmed is an Oromo, and he promised to bring reform and stability to Ethiopia. He also made peace with Eritrea, which earned him the Nobel Peace Prize in 2019. However, conflict broke out in the Tigray region from 2020 to 2022, causing a humanitarian crisis. Despite this, Abiy Ahmed remains in power and is still trying to address the ongoing unrest and demands for autonomy in various regions of Ethiopia, including Oromia, Amhara, Sidama, and Benishangul. Ethiopia is a country with a rich and complicated history that has shaped it into what it is today. With over 80 ethnic groups and languages, it is known for its independent history, religious heritage, and cultural diversity. However, the country still faces many challenges, including ethnic conflict, governance, development, and unity. Only time will tell how Ethiopia will overcome these challenges and continue to develop as a nation. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on any of our future videos. Have a great day and see you in the next video.